In the last video, we talked about the 17 career competencies that we'll be introducing you during your time here at the Spear School of Business. Now, 17 competencies, though, is a lot of competencies, and there's no way that we can throw all 17 at you this semester. So this semester in 2111, we're only going to focus on 6 of the career competencies. In this video today, we're going to start with the first competency, ensures accountability. Now, this class should not be your hardest class. In fact, this class was designed to be one that helps you with your career readiness and your professional development. So this is not a hard class to pass or even to get an A in. However, it does require that you stay up to date on all the videos, the readings in your book, and staying current on the readings on the specific competencies, and also just keeping up with the course and turning in things in on time. So ensures accountability is the perfect competency to start with this semester to help you understand more about what are some tools and resources that you can use to help accomplish any goals that you've set for yourself this semester. Let's start by taking a look at the definition of ensures accountability. Ensuring accountability is holding yourself and others accountable to meet commitments. That's it. It's holding myself accountable. It's also helping to hold other people accountable as well, especially if they ask me to hold them accountable, and we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. If you are not good at this competency, so let's say this is a competency that I am less skilled in, then I may fail to accept my fair share of personal responsibility. I may play the blame game at times. I may gather little information about how things are going. I may not ask for feedback because, well, I know that I'm not giving it my all, and so I'm just going to play it safe and keep doing what I'm doing, right? I may also provide inadequate feedback. So I'm failing to help others adjust, their course midstream. So I'm not giving them that feedback to say, hey, I don't think this approach is being effective. I think you need to try something else. Another way that I may not be very skilled in this competency is if I prefer to be one of many accountable for an assignment, right? So I don't want to be the sole person accountable, but put me on a team project, right? And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to take credit for the project because I know that it's a group effort, even though I may not be giving it my personal best. So these are all examples of if this is a competency that you struggle with, some of these things may sound familiar to you. Now let's say this is a competency that I'm pretty good at. Well, that means that I follow through on commitments and I make sure that other people do the same. I act with a clear sense of ownership. I know what's in my scope of responsibility and what's not. I take personal responsibility for decisions, actions, and failures. I own my mistakes and understand and recognize when those things happen. I establish clear responsibilities and processes for monitoring work and measuring results. So if I'm working on a team project, I know exactly what good looks like and how to do something different if we're not achieving our goals. If I'm good at this competency, I'm also going to design feedback loops into my work. Design feedback loops throughout the process. So how do I know if I'm on track? How do I know if I'm meeting my goals? So designing those feedback loops to make sure that I'm on track. Now, let's say this is a competency that you're really good at. So people who are talented in this competency, they assume responsibility for the outcomes of others at times. They're going to fall on the sword for the team and say, you know what, I'm going to take the blame for this and we're going to go back and we're going to fix this. Promotes a sense of urgency and establishes and enforces individual accountability in a team. Works with people to establish explicit performance standards. So as a team, guys, what are we trying to accomplish here, right? What are the specific goals that we're working towards? What are our objectives? When are we going to meet next? What are we going to try to have accomplished individually before we get together next time as a group? You're completely on top of what is going on and you know where things stand within a specific project or assignment. And you provide balanced feedback at the most critical times. So even when it's hard to hear that feedback or you may worry about, hurting someone's feelings, you're able to deliver feedback in a way that gets your point across and delivers that critical feedback to that person. So again, understanding where you're at when it comes to accountability for yourself and also holding others accountable. You may be really good at holding yourself accountable. You may not be so good at speaking up and helping hold other people accountable. So that can be something that you can work in. This competency, just like all of the 17 competencies that we'll talk about throughout your entire academic career, are competencies that you can work to develop if it's not a strength of yours today. Okay, So let's talk about possible causes of lower skill. So let's say that this is a competency that you're not that good at. Well, there's a few things or reasons why that might be. Number one, you may not be setting goals. You may not be goal-oriented. So you're not staying on track with things because you're not setting those goals, and so you don't know where you stand. You may be afraid of making a mistake. You could lack commitment or have a narrow comfort zone. You may be unsure of even how to measure performance. How do I know if I'm doing a good job? So these are all common things that could fall into why this is a competency that you may struggle with. These are all examples in your book that you can find inside of your career competency guide. So let's talk about some ways to help boost your accountability. It's the beginning of the semester. Hopefully you have some goals or you're working on some goals. Maybe you're taking a really difficult class and you want to try your best to get an A in that class. Let's talk about 4 different ways that you can help increase and boost your accountability. Number 1 is written accountability. By far, having a goal and writing it down, whether that's in your mortar board or some sort of daily planner or weekly planner, but having one place where you go and you write down your goals, you write down your tasks, the things that you want to accomplish on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Next is scheduled accountability. Let's say I have a really important accounting exam this Friday. I want to make sure that I block off 3 hours every single day this week to help study for that. I'm actually going to go in and find time each day and say, okay, on Monday, I'm going to study from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. On Tuesday, I'm going to study after work, so I'm going to study from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and so on and so forth. You're actually blocking and scheduling that time that you're going to work on these tasks. The next option is having an accountability partner. This could be a roommate, it could be a friend of yours, it could be another student, it could be a parent, it could be someone that you go to and say, hey, I set this goal for myself. I really need someone to help hold me accountable to accomplish this goal. So if it's a roommate and you say, I want to make sure I'm going to study 3 hours a day this week for this exam that's coming up, that roommate can say, hey, Abby, I noticed that you've been watching Netflix for the past 2 hours and you haven't started studying yet. When are you going to start studying? You give someone permission to be that accountability partner, and it can be really helpful. The last one is something called daily questions. And this is a concept that I got from a man by the name of Marshall Goldsmith. He's an executive coach, and he has a book called Triggers, and it's creating behavior that lasts. So becoming the person that you want to be. And he talks about having these daily questions. I use daily questions, and I'm going to get my phone and show them to you. I use an app called Grid Diary that you can see here. And Grid Diary, it's a great app to help journal or document any type of daily questions that you want. So let's take a look at a few of mine. So one daily question that I have is, did I establish a daily intention? So it's a goal of mine that every day when I wake up, before I start my day, I have some sort of daily intention that I start to make sure that I accomplish the things that I want to accomplish that day. Another one for me is, did I read for 15 minutes? So I'm trying to increase the amount of books that I read, so I'm setting a daily goal to read for 15 minutes a day. Another one that I have is, was I present and mindful today? I'm kind of a mindfulness guru or junkie, and so I really like trying to practice mindfulness and be in the present moment, and so that's a question that I have. And let's see, another one that I have is, what did I do to help others today? So these are questions that I have in my phone using the Grid Diary app, and I look at these every day, and I sometimes fail, and I'll forget to look at them at the end of the day, but this is something that I try to do every single day. These daily questions, they stick with me, they don't change. I might update them every few months, but for the most part, they stay the same. So those are the 4 ways that you can really help boost your accountability. So we talked about written accountability, scheduled accountability, having an accountability partner, and establishing daily questions, something that will hold you accountable at the end of the day to say, did I meet my goals? Did I eat healthy? Did I go to the Colvin? Did I do those things that are working towards my goals?